The Grand Assembly of the Zarketh Dominion floated in silence, suspended in a gravity-neutral sphere above the galactic core. 1,000 species represented their empires, each more ancient and arrogant than the last. They had subjugated hundreds of worlds, crushed rebellions with impunity, and held dominion over every race they encountered. Every race except one. "Let us speak of Earth," intoned Supreme Overlord Veljak, a being of radiant plasma caged in obsidian armor. "The Terrans have refused assimilation. Again. Their ambassador spat upon our emissary and returned his charred remains in a cryo coffin with a note. Try that again, and we'll send more than just words." Murmurs broke out through the chamber, some of amusement, some of worry. "They are primitive," sneered Archmind Z, representing the Voth technocracy. "Their world is carbon-rich. Their minds barely ascended. We could glass their planet in a solar cycle." "Do it," grunted Warlord Grex, pounding a clawed fist. "Show them what it means to defy the Dominion." But from the shadows a voice rasped, "I would not recommend that." All eyes turned to the speaker, a hunched, cybernetically repaired being whose features were obscured by a battered hood. His voice echoed with the broken cadence of someone who had once screamed too long and too loud. "Who speaks?" demanded Veljak. "I am Sharn, once general of the Creel Armada. We invaded Earth 70 cycles ago." The chamber went silent. "The Creel were erased from galactic records," Z said cautiously. "Extinct." Sharn laughed, a sound full of pain and regret. "Because we invaded Earth." He stepped forward, revealing burns across his carapace, artificial limbs fused with Terran metals, and a neural core scarred by EMP warheads. They looked weak. They were fractured, fighting among themselves. "Easy prey. We struck first. We won the first few battles." His tone darkened. "Then they changed. They adapted faster than any species I've ever seen. They united, not through empire, but fury. Nations that had warred for centuries stood side by side. Children became soldiers. Scientists became weapon makers. They didn't just fight us. They learned us." He stared into the middle distance, haunted. "They reverse-engineered our warp tech from wreckage, built weapons from our own bones. They don't fear death. They plan for it. Their kind doesn't go extinct quietly. They make sure you go with them." "What happened to your armada?" whispered someone. "They hunted us across 8 systems. Not just soldiers. Civilians. Farmers flying stolen Creel ships, hacking our systems mid-flight. Our war computers couldn't predict them. Their chaos isn't weakness. It's a weapon. The last thing I remember before I blacked out was a human shouting, 'Tell your kind. We're not prey. We're the storm.'" Sharn looked up. "So I tell you now, you may destroy Earth, but you will not survive what comes next. You cannot hide. They will find you, and they will end you." Silence returned, then murmurs of dread. Veljak clenched his fists. "They are but one planet." Sharn turned, and for a moment, a glimmer of mad laughter crossed his broken face. "Yes, but they are human, and that is enough." "Matt?" "Certainly. Here's the revised version of the story in paragraph form, written with a dramatic and engaging tone for an immersive reading or listening experience. The Zarketh Dominion had ruled the stars for millennia. Empires crumbled beneath their fleets, civilizations surrendered without a fight, and resistance was nothing more than a myth, until they encountered Earth. The Grand Assembly gathered above the galactic core, where 1,000 species convened to address a growing problem, the humans. Supreme Overlord Veljak, his obsidian armor crackling with plasma, opened the meeting with fury. The Terrans had once again rejected Dominion rule. Worse, they had incinerated the emissary and returned his remains in a box labeled, "Try harder." Mocking laughter echoed through the chamber. Archmind Z of the Voth sneered, calling the humans primitive, barely post-singularity. Warlord Grex slammed a clawed fist and demanded Earth's immediate annihilation. But from the shadows came a voice, hoarse, mechanical, and filled with warning. "I would not recommend that," it rasped. All turned to face the speaker, a withered, half-machine figure with scorched skin and cybernetic limbs, parts of him unmistakably forged from human scrap. He stepped into the light. "I am Sharn," he said, "General of the Creel Armada, or what's left of it." A silence fell. The Creel had been erased from history, presumed extinct. Sharn's voice cut through the quiet like a blade. 70 cycles ago, we invaded Earth. Certainly. Here's a strong and impactful conclusion to wrap up the story. The chamber remained silent long after Sharn's final words faded into the stillness. For the first time in centuries, the Grand Assembly, the Zarketh Dominion ruled the galaxy without contest. Star systems bent the knee, empires vanished in their wake, and rebellion was an ancient memory, until they came across one species that did not kneel. Earth. In the Grand Assembly Hall, a colossal sphere orbiting a dying star, representatives from over 1,000 races floated in zero gravity, clustered by sector and alliance. Each was powerful in its own domain. Combined, they were unstoppable, or so they believed. Supreme Overlord Veljak, radiant with molten energy beneath obsidian armor, stood in the center. "The Terrans have once again rejected Dominion law," Veljak thundered. "Their ambassador burned our emissary alive and returned his remains in a Terran coffee tin labeled, 'Try harder.'" Laughter rang out. "They are insects," said Archmind Zai of the Vulth technocracy, her consciousness shared among 1,000,000,000 nanites. "We have digitized species far more advanced. This one can be deleted just as easily." "Permission to strike," growled Warlord Grex of the Vurek Horde, his 4 fists clenching. "We'll rend their crust from orbit and leave their moon floating in blood." "They are young," said High Speaker Selena of the Ishari, a crystalline being of pure resonance, "but not empty. Their psychic waves are chaotic, yet fierce. I sense something ancient beneath their rage." "Bah!" snorted Grand Chancellor Mavor of the Slith Confederacy, slapping his tail against the floor. "They are warm-blooded pests. Let us swat them before they multiply." But then, static, a hiss. From the far edge of the hall, a shadow moved, shuffling, dragging. A broken figure stepped into the light. Limbs fused with scorched metal, eyes clouded by time and torment. His voice, raw and mechanical, crackled through the chamber. "I would not recommend that." Silence. Veljak's eyes flared. "Who dares interrupt?" "I am Sharn," the being said, "once general of the Creel Armada, the same Creel Armada you erased from your records." Gasps. The Creel were legendary, conquerors in their own time, vanishing without explanation after an invasion campaign into the Sol system. "What happened to you?" whispered Selena. "We attacked Earth," Sharn said simply. "We believed what you do, that they were weak, divided, easy." He looked up, the lights reflecting in the Terran alloy welded to his skull. "We won the first battles. Then they adapted. Their scientists turned battlefield scrap into weapons. Their hackers hijacked our fleet AI from orbit. Their soldiers, their civilians fought with madness in their eyes. They united not through diplomacy, but rage." He glanced at Warlord Grex. "You think you know war? Humans don't just fight. They become war. Every loss makes them meaner. Every defeat makes them smarter." Archmind Z flickered. "They are still limited. A single world cannot—" "They are not bound by that world anymore," Sharn interrupted. "They reverse-engineered our warp drive mid-conflict, built entire fleets inside hollowed asteroids. They learned our language from intercepted transmissions and used it to send back a single message. You started this. We'll finish it." A deep voice cut in, slow, deliberate. "I believe him," said Elder Prime Boruwan of the Kanar Enclave, a silicon-based life form who rarely spoke. "Our outer colonies intercepted unmarked Terran ships scanning our deep space. They did not attack. They watched, recorded, then vanished." Salina trembled, her light dimming. "They're preparing." Jarn nodded. "Not for defense, for retribution. They don't forget, and they don't stop." Veljak slammed his staff into the floor, silencing the growing unease. "They are but one species," he snapped. "We are 1,000, united." But now even the proud were unsure. They do not fear extinction, Sharn said, because to them, it means taking you with them. You may destroy Earth, but if even one of them survives, they will hunt you across galaxies, across lifetimes. He turned to leave, but paused. The last human I saw was a teenage pilot patching a hole in her stolen Krill fighter with duct tape and humming a war song. She smiled as she fired the shot that ended my fleet, and she said, "Tell your kind, we're not prey, we're the storm." The assembly remained silent. No one laughed now. No one dared. The vote to invade Earth was never held. Instead, Terran space was sealed off, flagged in every language. Do not engage. Because now they understood. Earth wasn't a world to be conquered, it was a warning. Some species kneel, some die quietly. But humans rise.